Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Angela O'Hare, your favorite Las Vegas realtor.
Hey, what's up? I'm Rob Howe, Rockstar Realtor.
Yeah, and we are 1 minute late. That's okay. So today we're going to go over October 2022 numbers, right?
Yeah.
Right.
What has happened?
A lot has happened and some surprising numbers.
Okay.
A lot of people, in my opinion, are saying doom and gloom. The Las Vegas market is crashing. It's awful. It's bad. I mean, it is bad in some terms, but the numbers are showing a different story, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say that's certainly not showing doom and gloom.
Right. And basically what I just wanted to say is that Southern Nevada house hunters face the highest mortgage rates in 20 years as the market grapples with a continued run up in borrowing costs. The average 30-year fixed loan is at 7.8%, and the week before that was at 6.94. Who knows what it is today? This was last week's news. It's probably
about
a lot higher.
6.825. I just had to check for a client.
So a year ago from today, it was at 3.14%. So that's kind of cray-cray, I think.
Yep.
Let's do this.
Even at the beginning of the year, they were what, 3.5?
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah. So obviously the interest rates have slowed down the people's purchasing in Southern Nevada and across the country. It's not just Las Vegas, it's everywhere.
Yeah. And as we always say, it's the combination of high interest rates and high prices.
Right.
Because I can tell you that, like I have a client right now I'm working with, and at 300,000, it's tight for him. At 250, he could be comfortable at that rate, but 300,000 tight.
Yeah. So obviously with the higher interest rates, it puts people in a lower purchasing. They don't have as big of a purchasing power as they did when the interest rates were lower.
And speaking of lowers, it hurts most people in the lower price ranges the most. That's why I use that example. I feel like people who can afford a little higher, so they may not want to spend the money, but they might be able to balance it out with a little bit more cash in the pot or something, where in the lower price range, they might not have the options.
Perfect.
The ability to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because at 250 at 7% interest rate, your mortgage payment's like ridiculous.
I can tell you right now, at a 5%, you're going to have obviously your this is 5% for a 5%. Right. In this case, you're going to have a private mortgage insurance. That property was a townhouse, so he also had $155 HOA. And it was at 257. It was, touching up on $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. And so we were looking at rate buy downs and stuff. This property in particular happened to be one that the seller had already really reasonably priced it. So they were not looking to do
any more legal negotiations.
Yep. So, it gets tight. And I think that's exactly what the Fed is looking for.
Yeah.
But as we were saying, overall, our market is not what I'm seeing, and we're going to go on and on about this. Our market's not it's not getting like hammered to doom and gloom stuff. It's what you would naturally assume is going to happen, which is that sellers have to make their prices better. And there are just less buyers to take those properties regardless. So inventory is ticking up, but not like crazy.
Right. And we just did last week a video on why now is a good time to buy new construction. And I think a lot of these resale homes are competing with the new construction.
Look, the new construction they have found the ways to make it affordable to get into these homes by offering those rates that get in, and offering the lower prices and packaging deals that make sense for people.
And we're going to briefly touch up on the new construction. We're not going to go into detail like we did last week. If you want to learn more about all the incentives that are going on across the valley with new construction, just watch our video that we posted last week.
And I will make this point that if you're a seller thinking about selling, you should watch that video just to understand what the new home builders are doing, because that's how you're going to get it done.
True.
You have to package your property properly if you want to sell in this market right now.
Yeah. So let's get into the numbers. I'm sure you guys are anxiously waiting, and we'll try to not make this as long, but we do like to talk, especially when we don't talk often. So we tend to talk a little more, but anyway,
Yeah.
So we're going to go over the numbers, and what we're going to go over is there were 1,724 homes that sold, single family homes that sold in the month of October, which is down 15% from September and down 44% from the year before.
Yep. Those numbers, when you see those percentages, can be definitely, you could take the attitude, the perception that that looks awful.
Yes. But once we go into the other numbers, I think it'll make sense.
Yeah.
And you got to understand right now what's going to be happening is we're going into our slow months, our traditional slow months.
Yeah.
November, December, January tend to be our slower months, even though I do have 9, I'm up to 9 closings for December. I think people are wanting to,
Well, they were certainly that when you got those into escrow, people were shoving it in, trying to get it done.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
But the most interesting number is that the median price went from $450,000 the month before to $440,000 in October, which was only a $10,000 decrease, $10,000 decrease, which I don't think it was as big as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was hard for me to get a feel on where we might go. I knew it was going to go down a little bit, but based on the month prior that ended up staying the same.
Yeah.
It was like, hold on.
It's destined to go down at least a little.
Yeah. And maybe you could think that because it stayed the same, that we were going to kind of fall off a shelf.
Right.
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 That's not what really happened. 10,000 is an obvious, decrease, but it's not the falling off the shelf that we could have.
Yeah. And it was only a 2.2% decrease. But it's still 7.3% up from the year before. So that's still showing signs that it's good, right?
This is interested in selling, has to take a look at is, right now what you're looking at. If you are a seller that has to get it done, you have to do that as soon as possible, because while we're not seeing it drop off a shelf, there's no doubt you're losing equity every month. You're losing the ability to get more from your property.
Right. And also the homes aren't selling super fast. They're taking over 30 days, 60 days to sell.
If you have a nice property and you price it right, it will sell much quicker. The ones that are in denial and they are going to go through the usual stages of selling, which I would typically say are fine to do, which is to say, here's my price, and then maybe in 2 weeks I'll drop my price or adjust some things, and then maybe another time frame I'm going to just, that's not the way to do it right now. It's not, because you're just going to drop your price to the last month's price.
Well, the only problem is, like, I have a listing in Sun City, beautiful listing. We had it priced accordingly, because I'm not the one that overpriced my listings,
right?
And it just is not getting any showings. It's not an outdated Sun City home. It's a very nice home, and we're just not getting the showings.
Well, so there's going to be certain parts of our market that are not going to be active, and I would say in that sector, which is 55 plus, you're not gonna, that's where people are probably climbing up more,
right?
They're just like, I don't like this, I'm not gonna buy right now. And many of those people are in positions in life where they don't have to do anything,
right? So
they're gonna say, now's not the time, I'll wait. And so that's a little unfortunate for your seller, because it's just going to be, unless they really, really make it super deal, it's just going to be dependent on what comes along.
We really lowered it below the ones that are just junky. It's priced to sell, and it's still not getting any showings. So it's kind of sad.
And in that scenario, believe me, we're seeing it.
Right.
We're seeing that kind of stuff. In that scenario, you just either have to be patient. If you have to sell, you either have to just be patient,
right?
Or maybe you decide there's another, another time that this works better, and you just keep you pull it and you keep an eye on the market, and decide when it works better. It's going to be one way or another wherever things are at the end of this cycle,
Right.
so to speak. Right.
So with that said, because the median price went to 440, and I've been doing this for the last 4 months or so videos, I always like to compare from a year ago and the year before. So, but January 2022, the median price was at 435,000. So we're only 5,000 above what the median price was in the beginning of this year.
Yep.
So that's interesting. But then the median price for October 2021 was 410,000.
Mm-hmm.
And the median price for 2020 October was 340,200. So obviously we are not there yet to the October 2021 numbers.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long it will get there, if it will ever get there.
Yeah. We're going to still have a net gain for the year, and probably somewhere around the 10 to 12% total net gain for the year, which
a median price
year over year.
But if it was at 435 in January this year, and we have November, December to go, we're going to have a negative gain, because it's going to probably be below that number.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe based on the media. I have to think about this for a second. I think it's more based on if where we're standing right now on October. Like, that's maybe what I mean, just for the year.
I mean, we do have a net gain of 7.3% for the year, but if we continue this route, we may not.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Based on the median, I've got to look at. I know I have that number right. I got to look at it again.
Okay. No worries. So then I also like to go over the condos and townhomes median price. And the median price of condos and townhomes went from 370,000 in September to, 270,000 in September to 266,000 in October, which is slightly down at 1.5%, but still up 12.7% from the year before.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry, I don't mean to I just had to, I'm talking about the entirety of the market,
right.
That we will have a overall gain of about 10%, okay. Not just in median for single family residents, but in the entirety of the market.
Okay.
And that may actually be nationwide, not Nevada.
Okay.
Okay. So I know mathematically, so anyway,
that's all right.
But yeah, what's happening is clear in these levels, although it's starting to have some real pressure now at 7% rates.
Right.
Is that these lower price properties is where everybody went once they got pinched to not, on the interest rate. They were doing it before anyway, right? The prices were already going up, so they were getting pinched. They were moving down to condos and townhomes. And now even more so because of the interest rate. And now you're just starting to see, we weren't seeing any decline at all.
No,
now
they had an increase last month in condos and townhomes. So they only had a slight decrease this month. So, and then when you compare October 2021, the median price for condos and townhomes was 236,000. And for October 2020, it was 186,500. So there's not, these numbers aren't like crashing and like, exploding, and it's just like diving deep. You know what I mean? I think we're just stabilizing.
Yeah, it's settling is is happening. We have clear fissures of the market, which have to do with the prices and the interest rates, and now it's settling down. What's going to be interesting is it would be cool to like make a marker down for me saying this right now. But at some point, what's going to happen is that the single family residents are going to start holding firm, but the condos and townhomes are actually going to have the bigger drop, because they're in that range of where people just can't afford it, and they're going to be, starting to say, hey, this isn't a good deal for me.
Well, it makes sense to buy a single family home now in lieu of a condo townhome. Plus,
that too. Yes.
Plus
the
the
single family
HOA,
home.
like you mentioned in the beginning of the video, is for those types of residences is extremely high.
Exactly. So now if single family homes come down to that level, you're exactly right.
Right.
That they'll be able to, sort of reach up to that. And then these will be less desirable like they typically are because they're of the HOA and not everybody wants to be, attached to their neighbors and stuff. So
exactly. Then we're going to go into the luxury market, which was actually very shocking numbers for me.
Okay.
So the luxury market remained flat from month to month. There were 97 homes in October that sold and 97 homes in September. But the most interesting number was the median price in the luxury market. It went from 1.2 and change $1 million to $1.53 million. So it had a huge increase. And I think this is where people are cash heavy, I think, maybe.
Well, yes, absolutely. There's going to, people that can afford it more are going to just avoid using the loan or use a smaller percentage of the purchase as a loan and then use more cash.
Right.
But I think what happens in the luxury market is that it can vary on the types of homes that were sold that month.
Right.
Right. So, it's the median can swing more so depending on, hey,
true,
these nicer properties sold this month just happened to sell.
But you also got to take into consideration too with the luxury market, those homes, and we've said this before, that were in the million and over are now under.
Yeah, so that you're right about that. But there is an inventory shortage in the luxury market without a doubt. So what's there is what's there, and when something good comes on, it is getting looked at seriously by people. I still have people calling me on a property that's been in escrow for a couple of months. There's a reason why it's in escrow until December, but I still get called on it. That lets me know people are looking for that really nice luxury home still,
right?
And they're willing to not worry about what's happening with rates for the original reason we talked about. And when there's not, especially if you're talking single story, 4 to 5 bedroom in a nice, if it's in Summerlin, forget about it. I mean, there's a number of marker downs for the luxury market that are really missing. There's not a lot. And that's because a lot of these sellers are smart. They're like, I don't need to sell right now,
Well, which is going to be interesting, which leads us as a good segue to the number of new listings for the month of October. And there were 2,883 new listings listed, which is down 14.6% for September and down 19.1% from the prior year. So this number is telling me that the sellers are getting the message.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And we're not having as many listings, because if you compare to October 2021, we had over 3,500 new listings.
Yeah. You had the complete opposite type of market where it's like, oh, we got an upswing of market. I'm going to, sell this property and sell it easy or whatever. Now it's like, oh, sell it. It's going to be harder. So, and a lot of people are in good mortgage. They have good mortgage rates. They bought, and obviously not now. They may not be in a position where they have to do anything. A lot of the people that made their moves. Right. People already. They're staying put. You also have the factors of where people come from to this state, which is from other states. Mm-hmm. So when sellers are realizing that the spigot is kind of being turned off, they're like, maybe now's not really an important time for me to do this.
Because you also have a lot of sellers that want to buy and sell. So they're like, well, it's not worth buying. If I have a great interest rate now in my home, why should I buy and have a 7% interest rate? Great
point. And it has been a great point for several months now. I know we've had people watching that have commented that, why would I sell my property at 3.5 interest rate and then go and get at whatever time it was moving up 5, 5.5, 6, now 7,
right? And the funny thing is, people say, well, when my grandparents or when my parents bought the house, it was 14%. Mm-hmm. However, how much was the pricing?
80 grand, 60 grand.
Yeah, 60 grand. So we can't compare to 20 or 30 or 40 years ago or 30 years ago what the interest rates were, because that was a different time and the prices were a lot lower.
Yeah, the closest we have, sadly, is right around 2005 and 6 when rates were higher, but and prices were going up. But obviously there was
because it says it's for the first time in 20 years. This is where the market has seen the highest the interest rates had ever been.
Yeah. And prior to after that, the next highest rates were about, well, I guess they creeped up probably after that, but still around that time they were 6 and 7 around.
But the height of the market, the median price went to 315,000. So we're almost 115,000 more than the height of the market in that time frame.
And not only that, people were just getting the loans like free candy. You know? It was, so anyway, I just think about that because, you know, we still had a robust market, even though there was higher rates at that time. Well, it's easy when you're, you know,
when everybody can get a loan.
Yeah. And they were making all these deals based on ARMs, you know, which were going to adjust. The adjustable rates were going to happen. Now, I do think that people can use that to their advantage now if you have to get into a home, but it's not going to be the norm. Like, and that's what was happening. It was the norm to use an ARM. It's not.
I remember when I bought my house in 2006, I was in my early 30s. I didn't know anything about ARMs or whatever. If I can get a lower payment, I didn't know about the second year. And I mean, I was stupid. I wasn't very educated.
We all were.
And then, you know, each month it would go, or each year would go up. And of course, then I eventually had to short sell that home because of circumstances. But it's crazy. They are doing ARMs now.
It's just they're far more responsible the way they're looking at them, in my opinion. And I see lenders saying we offer it, but I don't see them pushing it as their main, you know, this is the only way you're going to get in a home. Now, it could be that if this lasts long enough as far as high rates that we start seeing that would be, you know, careful territory, you know, and certainly territory where if you ever saw any 80-20 loans, that real use of 80-20 loans would be crazy, which is basically loan? Where they're financing their down payment. Basically, you get 80% of the loan is for the house, and then there's a second loan that's used 80-20, and that's how they would get people in homes.
Wow!
And it was a crazy idea, but it would get people into a home, and then it's like the whole thing was predicated on everybody's going to make more money, so you'll be able to pay this off, or you'll be able to refinance and put it into one loan later. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, crazy times, folks. So then that puts us at there were a total number of 7,906 single-family homes listed without offers for the month of October, which is down 2.6% from the prior month and up 140.5% from the prior year. So that number, to me, we thought we were going to continue to go up. But since the sellers got smart and didn't list as much, then obviously it's hanging around in that 8,000 range.
Yeah, this is really good. I think.
I think so too.
You know, it's not going to hold forever. You know, I think the next couple months are going to be slow as far as you know. We're going to see that continued slow.
Well, plus we're also in our slowing selling season.
You have a couple of factors coming in, and so we will see the inventory pile a little bit more. But we're not seeing, you know, a pile up on the freeway. You know what I mean? We're not seeing like, oh my goodness. And that is really, really important too. And it may have been, certainly in my mind, it would have been some of the factors that the Fed was looking at when they decided to do this aggressive move, which was that, you know, it's probably unlikely that we'll see a massive upload of inventory on the market, and where we're just, you know, everybody's trying to sell at once and they can't, you know. So as long as that holds firm, I think we're still in solid territory. This was something I was saying since I've known you for 2 years, and I actually forgot about it until you kind of reminded me. We were texting about this, and then I realized that's right. I had always thought this, which is that Vegas stands to do better than most other states because of the scenarios and the things that have been happening in Vegas for the last several years.
Right.
And I think this is evidence of it. It's not as if we're going to be immune to getting having, things.
I don't think it's going to be as drastic as the big crash.
Yes, certainly not a big gigantic crash. There's, we've explained why the reasons are that it's happening, but I think other states could take larger hits because of this, and Vegas could look a lot better and certainly come out a lot better in the long run.
Right. I mean, honestly, I think the slowness is good. And obviously, we always talk about a balanced market. And, I have a lot of buyers that are waiting for the prices to continue to go down. In certain areas and certain pockets of the valley, they will go down more than other areas.
Absolutely.
Right. Just like Sun City, Summerlin, you got over 200 or 200 listings and they're not selling because it's a different type of buyer. So I lost my train of thought.
They've gone to sleep, those buyers.
Right. And a lot of those buyers are waiting for it to hit further down. And I don't think it's going to go down as much as people want it to go down.
Yeah. This is where I've actually been cautioning people to watch out for trying to time the market.
Right.
If I was for me, I'm doing the same thing. I'm looking for a deal. I want to buy a property or two if it looks good enough for me to do so. But I'm not going to be looking to hit that low right at the bottom, because even us in this business, you have to be careful of trying to do that. I mean, would we have known, like, for inversely, would we have known, 2022, the beginning of the year would be the absolute height?
Right.
For sure. No. To be able to say, hey, absolutely, that's when we were going to sell. No, for the last 2 years, we've been telling people that, every 3 months or so, we'd assess and say, this is a great time to sell.
Right.
And I did that myself in 2021.
Right.
Did I miss out on a little bit? Yeah, sure. But I think my point is that some people were trying to time that high of that market, and guess where they tried to sell at?
In June, when it just went.
Yep. So same thing for a buyer. You want to watch out. I would say take more of a zone approach rather than I'm trying to hit a target approach. And that way you can just be on the board of when this happens.
Well,
right?
My thoughts and feelings are that come February and March, we're going to be back to a normal market, and hopefully the interest rates will kind of have stabilized, and that we're going to start having we'll have bidding wars, but not as crazy bidding wars, but we're going to, go back. And I think I only see upward movement from there, not as drastic, but upward movement. And that's my prediction.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that I'm pushing out my thoughts to a little further.
Right.
My thinking is that it might be a little further out than that. And that's based on what the Fed has been saying and their narrowing of the window for a soft landing for the economy to absorb what they're doing.
Right.
This language has made me believe, okay, they're probably raising rates into January, maybe even February. And now we're talking how long till they start edging off of that
and going down.
And it's going to be an edge off, not it's not going to go from like, okay, we went to 8 and then all of a sudden now we're 4. Like at 5 again. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think we'll see 4s for, decades, maybe.
So do you think then that now, like this winter season, with the rates being where they're at, and if they continue to go up, is a good time to buy?
I think if you're a cash buyer, you are king and queen of the market. You have the realm. Okay. Right. That's what I think. Cash is going to really be something where this is where, again, look for your zone. And if you find the properties that make sense to you, it's time to pick up some property. That's what I think. For purchasing, using a loan right now, I don't think it's wonderful.
Unless you buy new construction.
You definitely have to make the deal work for you.
Right.
So you got to find the right seller that's willing to do that, the right property that's willing to do that, whether it's on a resale or in the new home market. And you just got to beat it up as much as you can. That's the way I look at it. So if it makes sense and ultimately it's affordable to you, then yes, it's always a great time. If it's affordable to you in the long run, looks good for you.
Right.
You don't want to buy where you're teetering or, you're
right.
on the edge of something where it's like, I just barely got in on this house. And, if anything happens, you're going to be in the red.
You don't want to be house poor.
No. So, what I'm, going back to what we were saying about looking out forward
right.
and ahead, I think a lot of people, this is where I think you're right about potentially a boom back up. Not, and I don't know if a boom is the right word, but
Right.
but definitely activity springing up
A spike.
Once prices come down a little bit more, and then once interest rates come down a little bit more, everybody's going to be looking to get back in on that. And that's where you're going to see some maybe more intense marketplace.
Right. We're gonna get to the numbers, and while I have it in my head,
Yeah.
I thought that the market with the iBuyers, I thought we would have more inventory, thinking that these iBuyers would unload more.
Yeah. Well, that's so this is a little bit of,
because I know you did a video recently. I haven't watched it, but I thought because of all the purchasing that these iBuyers did, that they would try to get rid of some of their inventory that they have.
So they could be thinking that a lot of people, that this is shorter term and that they can hold for longer, and so the longer hold, does them better, and or maybe they don't have as much inventory as we think they have to sell.
True.
That they kind of took their loss and now they've just stopped buying, so they're not really adding new inventory.
Right.
Unless they can find the smoking deal. And just as well as I do, we still get all the texts.
But they'll be back in the game once those prices are down. Yeah,
and they're still in the game as far as if it is really a good deal.
Right.
But they're just trying to buy into the future market. So when they look at you now, they're saying, I want quite a drastic,
right, deduction.
But we'll make you nice and comfortable along the way as we rape you.
Right.
All
right. So let's finish up the numbers, and then we will talk. You guys are quiet today.
They lost a lot. The Open Door, they lost a lot of money.
So last month we remained flat at 4.0 months of housing supply. We jumped up to 4.6, which is a 14.6% increase, and a 329.3% increase from the prior year, because the prior year we were hovering at 1.1 months of inventory. So obviously, of course, we know that we have more inventory than we did last year, but even a 4.6 compared to 4.0 is still not that much of an increase, because we didn't have many listings.
Yep, it's not much. And I think I thought maybe November, December we would have 6 months of inventory. I'm starting to wonder if that'll happen until
I don't think
later,
so.
right? Yeah, maybe not.
I don't think so. But here's the catch, is that 53.7% of the closings was on the market 30 days or less. For October, for the month before, it was 56.8, and for the year before, 79.9.
What's that number?
So meaning that the homes are staying on the market a lot longer, and as a seller, you're going to have to be patient and wait it out.
Yeah, I'm seeing them do that, by the way. I've had clients where we've made offers and we're trying to beat them up a little bit, and they're like, nah.
Well, usually, in my opinion, is your first offer, if you get an offer, is always going to be your best offer. So the house in Sun City, we had it 475. We got a 435 offer that first weekend. We declined it. We should have taken it, because now we're listed way below that.
Yeah, listen, I think that's exactly what I'm thinking when I get a rejection on one of the offers that I'm doing right now. I'm like, well, these people think, in some of these cases, they think, okay, well, if I can't get it sold, I'll just put it back on the rental market.
Right.
So, but they have a reason for trying to sell now, and they should really evaluate what that reason is. Do you want to cash out or not?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, my clients had to move out of state. So there are circumstances that sellers have to sell. But if you don't, then my recommendation is to hold off, in my opinion.
You have to make that assessment,
right?
If you want to sell, I know that how you get it done, and it's by being, you got to give a buyer a deal.
Yeah,
a good deal,
because even though it's not at 6 months of inventory, it still is a buyer's market.
100%.
It is 100% a buyer's market right now. There longer the days where the sellers can dictate anything. I mean, unless you want to stand firm and hold on to it and stay on the market for 6 months.
Yeah.
But really, right now, in
rare cases, And you really have to have that property that's like really, really great and still well priced.
Right.
And really what you're dictating, the only thing you're really dictating is where you're not going to go. You
Right.
know, like, okay, like for example, I might, the property sold in 6 months ago for $50,000 more than what I'm selling mine right now for. But I'm selling it at this price because I'm not going to give any more wiggle room from there. So if you come in and ask me for closing costs, I'm going to tell you to kick rocks.
Right.
That's the kind of the only kind of power that you may have because you've priced it so well. If you price your property really, really well, you might be able to have that stay.
Right.
I want that, and that's it.
True. Wow, we went through these numbers pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because we don't have anyone talking today.
Yeah.
Is it the day, the time? I mean, did everyone vote after election? You know, people are having election hangover.
Well, they're probably still trying to figure out who's winning what, where. Everybody's watching. Why, you know, I will just say this. Why in the world is it 2022 and we can't count votes? You know, when I was a kid in the 80s, they would have an election, and that night we'd find out who won.
Right.
What the hell is going on?
This is the day of technology.
Oh, God.
You know, so I do want to briefly go over new construction just because, again, I fully believe in new construction, and basically that the builders, it says basically decrease, says builders land buying activity had also basically decreased to zero as they wait and see where things end up going towards the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, they're not going to want to overbuild, and they're not going to want to overbuy themselves either, because they're looking at it like, hey, this land might get cheaper for us.
Yeah.
You know,
well, that's true.
We could just wait this out a little bit.
But, you know, you have all these builders that overbuilt homes, the spec homes, the standing inventory, the quick move-ins, whatever you want to call them. And their main focus right now is to get rid of offload it. Now, it's becoming more of a traditional market when it comes to new construction. You can still pick out your lots and build it from ground up. It's still going to take 9 to 12 months. They're doing that more. And as they offload all this inventory, it's going to become more of that type of market. Which
will stabilize for them, and they will be less willing to give these kind of incentives.
Right. So that's why I feel strongly that now, more than ever, if you're okay with what the builder's design team has selected in options, now more than ever is the best time to buy new construction because of lender incentives that they're offering, the 2-to-1 buy downs, and so forth. So I'm just going to briefly go over the ones that have changed since our video from last week.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
We're not going to go over the whole list again. We're just going to go over briefly the builders that have changed. So Taylor Morrison last week, they were giving up to 50,000. The only thing that changed now is they're giving up to 40,000. So as this month goes by, because they want to close in December, after December, you probably won't be getting too many deals because they want those houses closed in December. Yeah. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So as the weeks go by, these builder incentives are going to decrease.
Yeah, it resets their priority once we enter the new year.
I mean, there are some builders that did quick move-ins for January, February, March, and you may still get deals on those, but not probably as good of a deal as those ones that they want to close for December.
Yeah, I think they have urgency to do so before the end of the year.
Yep.
They're going to have less, that's the upper management,
Well, because all these builders are corporations.
Yeah, upper management's, hey, let's get it done. And so that's their message out to everybody.
Yeah.
This is, by the way, sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that in my career, this is definitely an anomaly of about how the builders will, approach things. This is rare in how they're doing this. I have never seen them do it in this way, because even back in the days of when it really was, things really went bad, they sort of everything happened so much more slowly that they just slowly offloaded what they had. And then it just became about price, and here's what we're going to build it at. And then it just really built much more slowly.
Right.
They didn't.
Well, I think because of the inventory supply chain issues, the reason a lot of these builders did this was so that they would get the supplies in time to have houses ready for the robust spring selling season.
This is a great point. You're making a great point, because that supply chain issue was not happening back when I got into business.
Right.
And so they could just, okay, well, let's get rid of this. We have this, let's get rid of this. And then now we'll reset our parameters as far as, because the market was absolutely going wild back then. It's nothing compared to what it is now. I mean, back then.
And I think the incentives, and a lot of builders, even during this peak of the market, a lot of them were still offering, if you use their in-house lender, especially Pulte, certain other builders, they would give you 3% towards closing costs. That was nothing new.
Yeah.
Okay. But now they're offering on top of that. But anyway, let's get to this.
I just wanted to make that point, because I think that it's something that people might not realize, that this is a rare, probably not happening for a long, long time.
And that's why I've been like, very, very adamant on it. Taylor Morrison, so they changed it to up to 40,000, but they do have this thing where the first year you get 3.99, the second year 4.99, and year 3 through 30 5.99, which is still very good at 6% compared to at almost 7,
Absolutely.
8, 9%, wherever it's going to peak to. That's still a very good deal. And Taylor Morrison has a lot of quick move-in homes. You can also go to my website at Neighborhoods in Las Vegas and look at the blog posts that I posted last week on all the builders and which communities are offering incentives.
Cool.
So the other builder that changed is, I think, Lennar. They're offering right now, they were offering up to 6% towards closing costs, and that would put like 4.99% interest rate. But I think they're offering right now 3.5% interest rate. So, I mean, and this could change in 2 weeks. So if you want to find
3.5 interest rate?
Yes.
Wow.
For Lennar.
Wow.
So, it's a 7-year.
Okay.
Sorry. It's a 7-year at 3.5.
Still.
And then it goes to wherever it is in 7 years.
Oh, man. I think I'd take that bet.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That is getting creative and getting smart and doing what they need to do. I'm impressed with that one.
Yeah. So 3.5. And then also TriPoint Homes has some incentives, but nothing changed from the last time we went over. And TriPoint has a few quick move-ins, but not like the other builders that had just really did a lot.
Yeah.
So last is bets.
Okay.
And we may wrap this up under an hour.
Yeah.
So every month, Rob and I like to do bets and kind of, what do you call it? Just
prognosticate.
Hedge what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
look forward.
Rob said that the median price was going to decrease by 8,000. I said decrease by 5,000. It decreased by 10,000. So Rob was the winner.
Hey.
Then we said without offers. Rob said that it would be 8,500 homes without offers. I played the prices right and said 8,600, and it was a little over 7,900. So again, Rob won this one.
All right. All right.
And then months of supply, Rob said 4.8%. I said 4.5%. And it was actually 4.6. So I finally came the closest, and I got that one.
Well, it's funny is you had even said this to me, like, oh, well, that goes against what you're saying on these other things.
Right.
If I go 4.8.
Right.
But I don't, that number is kind of like, let me wing a number out there. I don't know.
Right.
I can't mathematically in my head do the math. So
someone did leave.
We got a comment there.
Do you want to read it?
Sure. Hey, thanks. Congratulations to me, I guess.
With what?
For winning.
Oh, for winning. Yes. Sorry. Are you busy for lunch?
I'm no, I think we can have lunch.
Lunch? Okay. Yeah. I'll take you out to lunch.
Yeah. Awesome. Market slowed tremendously in Los Angeles. Price reductions and increased days on market. Kim, yes, this is what I was alluding to a little bit about when I say that Vegas stands to do better than some other areas. An area like Los Angeles and California in general is one of the areas that I think is going to have the hardest time with their median prices.
Well, but then you think the people that were wanting to move to Vegas because of how high the prices were in California may not want to move to Vegas if the prices in California come to be normal. Does that make sense?
Well, it's going to take some time because
Okay.
normal, first of all, normal is, you know, I don't know what's normal in California anymore, but they're very, you know, they went up tremendously as
Okay.
well. And you're talking about million plus median home price in a lot of areas.
But we will see a slowdown from California buyers because they can't sell their homes.
Absolutely. And that's why I think they're going to suffer a little bit more. They bled a lot of people. We didn't bleed people. We gained people.
Right.
You know,
right.
So this is why, you know, I think Vegas has a chance to do better, certainly than in California. It'll be interesting to watch California because I still don't know. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a little reaction video on a video about California and their low price affordable housing, which is non-existent. And it's funny because they're definitely a state that touts that the people there always want this, but every time it comes up for like the ability to put it in their neighborhood, they find an excuse to not have it there. So the prices just have gone up and away. And you know, they like here we have built a fair amount of
affordable sections,
affordable housing. It's still anemic in some ways, certainly, but not like California.
Right.
Okay, so it'll be interesting to watch and see what happens there and how badly it affects California. It's still a beautiful place to live. I'm not saying that, but
it's just the taxes and everything else that comes with California.
Yeah, everything else, right?
Well, let's wrap this up by making some bets for next month.
Okay.
I will go first.
Yeah.
And I will say that I don't think it's going to be major. I'm just going to say another 10,000 decrease.
Okay. 10,000 decrease.
Mm-hmm.
It's great when you answer it first because I'm just going to Price is Right you on this one.
Like I Price is Right you.
I'm going to just go 11,000 on it. I think it's
yeah. Okay.
I mean, I could be dead wrong about this because with the way that the inventory is not piling up, you know, sellers sort of holding the line, we may not see that big of a change. But I'm going to go 11,000. What are you saying without offers, or should we go back and forth? Who answers it?
You go first now.
All right. Without offers, I'm just going to go ahead and stick with my 8,500.
Okay. I'm going to go low, and I'm going to say 8,100.
Okay. So I just need a 600 and change increase to beat you on this one.
All right. So months of supply, we went up from 4.0 to 4.6 with still remaining the same amount of inventory without offers, which is kind of interesting that the months of supply increase even though without offers remain the same. So that's going to be a hard one to figure out. I think that I'm just going to go up 4.6.
All right. I'll go ahead and, well, I guess I could just stay at 4.8 then. I think it's going to be 5. I think we'll have over 5 months inventory by easily by next month.
Maybe by December, but I don't know because November is still.
Well, that's what we're talking about is by, you know.
Well, we're talking for November, this month's numbers.
Yes.
Right.
So we're talking by December. We'll be talking about that.
Right. True. All right. That's it. Claudio.
Thank you for the recent Sky Canyon walkthrough. Yeah. You did a great job. And she's letting you know. Or is that he's letting you know? Sorry, yes. Claudio. I think Claudia and sorry, Claudio. It's Claudio. Yo. Steve Ho, start to see bigger 2-story homes have bigger price deductions in Vegas. Well, larger prices as far as, you know,
right.
Sales prices often mean larger deduction prices.
And just FYI, typically, and you can correct me, is that single-story homes tend to be more money than 2-story homes.
100%. Single-story homes there are fewer of them. They take up more land, and when somebody needs a single story, it is in demand.
Right.
So it always demands more. And to be honest, I won't live in anything but a single story. So I'm one of those people that makes it more expensive to be in a single story when I'm out on the market.
I have a 2-story, and I like my 2-story. I like this.
Well, you have a family, and you know,
Right.
space. You know,
Right.
for me, I mean, right now I'm living alone, and I very much enjoy it, and I don't like stairs. So
I don't mind the little exercise. No, I'm just kidding. But real quick, I just want to mention again, and I've been mentioning this on my videos. Go to my website at neighborhoodsinlasvegas.com. I've gone over all the neighborhoods. Every Monday for the next till probably springtime, I will be posting a video and on a neighborhood spotlight or neighborhood drive-through tour. So I just did Sky Canyon. I will be doing probably, I think the order would be Sunstone next. I'll be driving through Sunstone next. So stay tuned to that on my YouTube channel. Would you want to promote anything?
Yeah. After you're done with hers, you can go to my my YouTube and check out Rob Howe Rockstar Realtor on YouTube. I do once a month, I'll do these reaction videos to other videos that I'm seeing out there, which I think people have been enjoying. I do what's called a robnostication, which is my prediction into the future, or my prognostication into the future of what I think is happening the following month. I'm generally pretty spot on. So if you like to keep an eye, I know there's a lot of buyers that are trying to figure out what they're going to do. And as the months go by, so if you want to see that, that's there. And I do a couple of other videos at least a month. I'm not quite as active as Ange, but you know, come and join the fun.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We saw your note. Yes, Steve in 89131. That's a great location too. I love the Northwest. But amazingly, we're going to wrap this up under an hour.
Yeah.
That is shocking that we went under an hour. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Rock on.
And do it peacefully.
And we'll see you on the next one. Have fun, everybody.
Bye.